How was the movement?
Hey!
Great. It's Jonah. He's happy. He's always happy.
Yeah, it was fun. It was me doing a deep breath. It looks like you got a good turnout, huh?
All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Let me turn this down just a tad. All right. So Shabbat Shalom to our intimate crowd gathered here in the courtyard. If you're at home and you're worried about our air quality, it is now under 100. We had a Tot Shabbat tonight, which we had to move inside, but that was over an hour ago, and it was 150, 160. So if we started just a little bit late, it's because I didn't set up because I couldn't decide. Inside, outside, inside, outside. But here we are with our lovely little group. And of course, you all have masks on, so you can barely smell it anyway. One other funny thing is I came down here to check it out to see, what it didn't smell bad, but the baking smell from the kitchen that Eliza's doing for Rosh Hashanah was so overwhelmingly powerful, I could not smell any smoke. That
smells great.
Exactly. So,
good.
so here we are. All right. And Shabbat Shalom. We are going to begin on page 1 with Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh. The additional soul we get on Shabbat. Yedid Nefesh Abarhaman, Yedid Nefesh Abarhaman, Misham Abdecha, El Ritzonecha, Misham Abdecha, Yala la 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 la, El Ritzonecha. All right, let us turn now to Yismachu Hashemayim. It's on page 5, I think, 6. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Yismechu Hashemayim, Yismechu Hashemayim, Yismechu Hashemayim, V'tageh haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Umelo, Yiramayam, 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 Umelo. All right, we turn now to Romamu, bottom of page 12. Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu behar kodsho. Romembu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu behar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtatavu Behar Kodesh. All right. Page 13, Mizmor LeDavid. Ruthie, you want to lead anything tonight? You can say no. Or, Mom says yes, so Chatzi Kaddish it is for you, okay?
What a nice compromise.
Mizmor LeDavid, Avul Adonai Beni, Avul Adonai, Kavod Shemot Vayai, Avul Adonai Kevod Shemo Ishtachavu Adonai Be'adrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Al Hamayim El HaKavod Yerim, Adonai Al Mayim Rabim, Oh Adonai, Bakoach, ay, Kol Adonai, Ve'hadar Kol Adonai, Shover Arazim, Vayshaber Adonai, En Arzei Halvanon, Vayarkirem Kemo Egel, Lebanon, Ve'esirion, Kemon, Boven Re'evi, ay, Kol Adonai, Hozer Lavo Eish, Kol Adonai, Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai, Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai, Yechol El Ayalon, Vayemesof, Yecharon, Uve'echalom, Kulo Omer Kavod, ay, Adonai, Lama Hu Yashav Vayishem, Adonai Melech Le'olam, Adonai Oz, Le'amo Yiten, Adonai Yevarech et Damo V'Shalom. Hey, yai, yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, nay, yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, 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 yai, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 nay. All right, Lechadoti, page 15. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbatik. Now, everyone on YouTube knows you're here.
Just like when you were on YouTube.
Okay, Lechadoti, let's see, what melody should we do tonight? Okay, it's a little different one tonight, if I can remember how to do it on the guitar. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor zachor b'divor echad, ishmiyanu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'likila. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu menecha, מקור הברכה, מראש מקרב נסוכה, זאת מעשה במחשב בתפילה, לחדותי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לחדותי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Bottom 17, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, את אדוני תריצי, היניש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, וחדלתי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and face the entrance, welcoming the Shabbat bride. And so many of you are like 3 minutes too early, and could have been, you get to be a bride for a whole year, but just טוב ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, חדלתי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. וחדלתי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And we say to any mourners in our midst, may God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And we may be seated. Some of you already are. Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon, לזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינון. יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Continue silently, 19 and 20. Tzadik tamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu, oyenuvun b'sema. Deshenim ve'ra'nanim yehu lehagid yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. Adonai malakeot lavesh Adonai azit azar aftikon tevel ba'altimot nachon ki zachav ve'az mamata nasu nerot Adonai nasu nerot kolam yisu nerot okyam. כל עוד מים, מים רבים אדירים, משברי עם אדיר במרום, אדוני. הערותיך נאמנו מאוד, ביתך נבע קודש אדוני לאורך ימים. Please rise for the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bibaro ma'ari baravim. Prayov v'layla kol mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Ma'avir yom v'layla מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד לא עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים. 24 אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, V'shavenu u'v'kumeinu, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. וברך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Page 25. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך ביד. Anymore. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We're on 30 now, page 30. טוב רצון כלולהם, משה בני ישראל חנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, 32. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Torah tehilot, ozei felech. Torah tehilot, ozei felech, Adonai yilot le'am va'ed. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, חוקי הים לפני משה. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי. Lai 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 lai. Le'mar k'nad Yaakov, Glumer Chazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. 33. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, V'amidenu malkeinu. לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו לחיים ושלום ואתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפרי סוכת שלום עלינו, על כל עם ישראל, ועל ירושלים. Please rise for Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We remain standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, which will be led by Ruthie. Hold this so that one hand too. Yep, you can.
Yikadal,
Yeah,
Yikadal.
you can.
Oh. Yikadal, Yikadal, Shmei Rabba.
Amen.
The Almighty Rahir Tifim and Holy Day.
V'chayechon yomechon u'chayechon Yisrael.
Agala, Agala, U'bizman Karim.
Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabba V'Gora.
Jush v'chata v'nefemata v'amiran v'alma. Amen. Yasher Koach. We recite the Amidah, the next pages, silently to ourselves, pages 37 through 48. יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. All right. Krishalem, first page 53. Geravi Krashem Rabba, Yamani Bracher Tevin Mafute, Bahayachon, Yamachon, Hol Beit Yisrael, Agalav Izman Karivim Meru, Amen. Yahesh Me Rabba Mebora, Eolam Lal Meomaya Yipa, Yiparak Vishtava, Yiparma Minasevit, Narvit Levit Lashmeri Kucha, Brihu, Elamin Korbukata Vichiratat, Katavanechamata Tamiram Meru, Tikwan Sloton Rotan, the Choisra, Koram Divishmai Vimeru, Eshlam Rabin Shemaev, Himlin of Koisra Vimeru, Ose Shalom Bimramav, Uyase Shalom, Lena Vil Koisra, Vil Koyosh Beit Tevel Vimeru. All right, it is president time. And we are up to Dwight D. Eisenhower. Okay, for those who are watching for the first time, here for the first time, I have been every week, instead of giving a sermon on Friday nights, talking about the relationships of the presidents of the United States to the Jewish people from the beginning. And we're all the way up to Eisenhower. Do we like Ike, is the question. We will find out yes and no. Born in Texas, Presbyterian, a Republican, and known as a famous general in World War II. He received 36% and 40% of the Jewish vote in his two elections, which is obviously not a majority, but is actually pretty good considering Franklin Roosevelt was almost 90% of the vote, which means the Republican candidates against him got 10% of the vote. So he actually did quite well. He was very affected by the Holocaust as a general for the United States in World War II. He actually attended a Yom Kippur at a displaced person camp in Germany, and he went to Buchenwald to witness the atrocities just afterward. And there's a prominent quotation from him, which I'm going to read you. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's kind of front and center at either the Washington, D.C. Holocaust Museum or the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles, or both. I can't remember which one, but I've seen it many times, as I've been to both of those places many times. He says, the things I saw beggar description. The visual evidence and the verbal testimony of starvation, cruelty, and bestiality were so overpowering as to leave me a bit sick. In one room, there were piled up 20 or 30 naked men, killed by starvation. Patton could not even enter. I made the visit deliberately, in order to be in a position to give first-hand evidence of these things, if ever in the future there develops a tendency to charge these allegations merely to propaganda. Unfortunately, he was right. As so much, there's a gigantic Holocaust denial movement, and so he went to bear witness. Where he wasn't so good was in help and aid to the nascent state of Israel. And that's because, well, among other reasons, he was particularly influenced by his Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles, who was very much an Arabist, very much believed that we had to maintain strong relations with all Arab nations. And he was particularly close to Egyptian President Gamal Nasser, who was a terrible dictator and, was the leader of the, Jewish people have to be wiped out and thrown into the sea, etc. So Dulles was rather close to him. So always fly into the Reagan National Airport rather than the Dulles Airport when visiting Washington, D.C. Anyway, well, it's a lot closer to everything anyway, but I know that has nothing to do with anything. Anyway, he...
BWI.
Exactly. Oh, BWI, yeah, Baltimore, Washington. He threatened to sanction Israel after the 1956 Sinai campaign. I mean, it's too much to get into that whole war, but essentially Israel was blockaded. They had no access to the Suez Canal, the Straits of Tiran. And actually, Dulles tried even to prevent the UJA, the Federation of the United Jewish Appeal, from privately funding Israel. He tried to make it against the law in America. So that was a problem, and he was Eisenhower's Secretary of State. And he actually was said to have regretted allowing Dulles to be so prominent on that issue after his presidency. He wrote that it was one of his regrets as a president. He had a few other Jewish influencers. He did have some Jewish influencers in his inner circle. Louis Strauss was appointed the chair of the Atomic Energy Commission, and then he actually appointed him as the Secretary of Commerce, but Congress rejected his appointment. Not likely for any anti-Semitic reason, however. He was very good friends with prominent Jews in government and in business, Philip Klutznick, Maxwell Rabb, and Arthur Burns. And he was also well known for not pardoning Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, the two Jews convicted of being communist spies. He allowed the death penalty to stand. Eventually, when he was done being president, he retired to a farm in Gettysburg. And although his record in Israel isn't so good, he felt great warmth toward American Jews. He was taught by his parents that it was his Christian obligation to love Jews, that they were the chosen people, and they had high ethical and moral principles in our civilization. So, one other thing I forgot to mention, which should have been earlier on. Lots of people thought he was Jewish, not Jews. So he was often the victim of anti-Semitic remarks. I don't find Eisenhower to be a particularly Jewish name, but some people thought it was, and they would say anti-Semitic things to him here and there, even though he was not Jewish. So, very interesting. Go figure. So that's Dwight D. Eisenhower. So that means Kennedy's next, huh? All right. Because Eisenhower lost his power and Kennedy went to work, right? No? No, I'm the only one? Okay. Karen, you know it, right? No, not even? Okay.
Who is it?
I don't know. It was just some jingle. It might have been a jingle for McGovern against Nixon. I don't know, but whatever. It's a tune that runs around. All right. We are going to continue now with the Aleinu. Please rise, page 57.
Our children here.
Oh, actually, yeah. Let's bless their children at home. And Ruthie, you're here. You get to get blessed by mom. Simcha Elohim Kasar Rivka Chavalea. Simcha Elohim Kefraim B'Chem Menashe V'Recha Adonai V'Yishmerecha. Re'er Adonai P'nav Yelech V'Yivuneka. V'Sad Adonai P'nav Yelech V'Sem L'cha Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God lift the divine face toward you and grant you peace. Amen. Now Aleinu, 57. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol la'tein gedula le'otzer b'reishit shelo asanu k'grei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo samtelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu keho hamonam anachnu kolim u'mishtachavim u'modim Libnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim Ve'Yosef Haaretz U'Moshe V'Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'al U'Shrinat Tuzo Be'Go'ei Biromim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato Kakatu B'Torato ידעת היום והשיבותה אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ והארץ מתחת אין עוד אין עוד. הכתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. And we may be seated to lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends as your insights we observed during the coming week. Thinking especially tonight of Rose Adolph, Louis Arnold, Matthew Arnold, Albert Berkovich, Irving Louis Berg, Adolf Berkowitz, my father Herbert Bloom, Minnie Brodowski, Catherine Cohen, Ernest Cohn, Nessim Cowan, Nathan Davidson, Florence Desser, Florence Fogel, Rosa Freemark, Jeannie Gallant, Rabbi Meir Goldberg, Samuel Hillman, Gladys Hyman, Frederick Keene, Zelda Klein, Victor Kramer, Francis Laddish, Joseph Landis, Harry Lipka, Samuel Isaac Maltz, Adolf Hersku Mantel, Moshe Marcus, Michael Melvin, Pushpa Mutura Ramalingam, Isaac Nagar, Rose Nankin, Mendela Litvak Oak, Harold Person, Henry Reingold, Alex Rosenberg, Sarah Scheinberg, Nella Schlesinger, Abraham Schneider, Joanna Stern, Sylvia Edelstein Stern, Doris Sutnick, Minnie Wasserman, Leo Young, Samuel Zatkin. We are in the Shloshim for Andy Simonoff, the sister of Eric Lev, and Edith Denenberg, the mother of Barbara Osseroff, and Barbara Osseroff certainly with you. We ask all those who are in mourning or observing your side, as well as anyone else who would choose to do so, to join me in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 61. Yid Gadal Yid Kadash Shemei Rava V'Almad Yivrach Yerutei V'Amlech Machutei V'Chayechod V'Yomechod V'Eirechod Beit Yisrael V'Agalav Yizman Karim V'Imru Amen Yehei Shemei Rava V'Marach Ne'elam L'Almei Almaya Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitromam V'Yitnaseh V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalah Shemei Ne'Kudsha B'Richu Le'ela Min Kol Berchata V'Shirata Tushchachata V'Nechamata Damiran V'Alma V'Yimru Amen Yehei Shmama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen Osei Shalom B'Yimromav Huya Osei Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen Zikranam Livracha. For the memory of the people you've come to say Kaddish for, be a blessing to you always. Okay. Let's see if it still sees me. And it does. Okay. Some announcements. What do we got? Well, we have Saturday morning services tomorrow, 9:30 in the sanctuary. Jerry Levine's reading Torah, it looks like.
Woo!
Along with Susan Simon and Marshall Langfeld. The sermon will be given by Karen. Sort of this Karen, but sort of not. She will be reading the remarks of my colleague, Pastor Karen Stepko of Saskatchewan, Rhine, Saskatchewan, Canada, who has been joining us for online services for most of this year. You're going to hear some of her thoughts on the Haftarah and also the story of how we came to know one another, since we've actually never met in person. I'm looking forward to that. And let's see, Minyan Monday and Thursday, one more week of Torah study. See me if you, for how to come to Torah study. And we've got the high holidays coming up. Most of you know, you have to sign up this year. You only get to go to one of the main services, but you can also go to Erev Rosh Hashanah. I would say you can also go to secondary Rosh Hashanah, but you can't anymore. It is actually full. So the other ones still have availability. And if you want to be nice, Mincha Ne'ilah, the late after Yom Kippur, loads of spots for that one. So sign on up. But that doesn't mean you can sign up in addition to what you already have, because that's where we're putting the people who are still yet to sign up. So that's what we have there. Pray for good weather and no fires, because I don't think we can move that large of a group indoors safely at this point. I mean, I know other synagogues are doing it, but our medical committee did not advise not to be inside at all. And then there's some synagogues who are only virtual, so, you know, we're all doing the best we can. Okay, anything else? All right, we've got 2 closing songs tonight. Almost had 3. They are not in the prayer book. Significant, as you know, significant musicians, when they die, I honor them by doing one of their songs. The Rolling Stones drummer died, but when Mick Jagger dies, I promise to do Rolling Stones, but not doing Rolling Stones. The 2 musicians are Phil Everly of the Everly Brothers and Tom T. Hall, who is a folk, sort of country musician. You may recognize the song I'm going to do from him because it's in several commercials, but otherwise you probably don't know it. Now, it's funny because the song that I'm going to first do, I'm going to do the Everly Brothers song first because it's a sad song. I'm going to do the Tom T. Hall song second because it's a happy song. However, the sad song by Phil Everly, by the Everly Brothers, sounds happy, and the happy song by Tom Hall sounds sad. The lyrics don't match the music. But with the Everly Brothers, you know, this was the, oops, oh wait, that one was already broken. Okay, this one you know, and this is the style of the 50s, this is Bye Bye Love.
Oh, yeah, that does sound
It's a very happy sound with just terrible, terrible lyrics. Bye bye love, bye bye happiness, hello loneliness, think I'm gonna cry. Bye bye love, bye bye sweet caress, hello emptiness, feel like I could die. Bye bye my love, goodbye. There goes my baby with someone new. She sure looks happy, I sure am blue, but you don't sound it. She was my baby till he stepped in. Goodbye to romance, that might have been. Bye bye love, bye bye happiness, hello loneliness, think I'm gonna cry. Bye bye love, bye bye sweet caress, hello emptiness, feel like I could die. Bye bye my love, goodbye. I'm through with romance, I'm through with love, I'm through with counting the stars above. And here's the reason that I'm so free. My loving baby is through with me. Bye bye love, bye bye happiness, hello loneliness, think I'm gonna cry. Bye bye love, bye bye sweet caress, hello emptiness, feel like I could die. Bye bye my love, goodbye. So there we go. Way too happy for its message though. It's crazy, but it's fun. Okay, here's the other one. It's called I Love. I love little baby ducks, old pickup trucks, slow moving trains and rain. I love little country streams, sleep without dreams, Sunday school in May, and hay. I love you too. Does it ring a bell, anybody? You know what I mean? I love leaves in the wind, pictures of my friends, birds of the world, and squirrels. I love coffee in a cup, little fuzzy pups, bourbon in a glass and grass. And I love you too. I love honest open smiles, kisses from a child, tomatoes on the vine, and onions, which I don't love at all. I love winners when they cry, losers when they try, music when it's good, and life. And I love you too. Tom T. Hall. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, oops. Forgot a couple of quick announcements. Take the chairs inside if you can. And we have a couple people joining us for the first time tonight, and one person maybe for the second or third time. So we have Beckham and Wade Beckham, Jarrett, I think, and Barbara. Who's with you again? Peter.
Welcome.
So welcome.
Welcome.